I'm Joe Bev, and this is the Joe Bev Show. This time on the Joe Bev Show, Jack Benny in Waiting for Rochester to Stop. And yours truly, Johnny Dollar, in the James Forbes matter. That's coming up on the Joe Bev Show.
Suspension. Tonight, Super Chief Locomotive brings you Mr. Jack Benny in Waiting for Rochester to Stop. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspension. But first, here's a word from our good friend, the Super Chief conductor.
Train leaving on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga. That's right, friends. The Super Chief is the fastest, safest, most advanced luxury locomotive, and the only one that stops at Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga. So if you've got a pressing engagement in Cucamonga, you can leave from Anaheim, and after a quick stop in Azusa, make that engagement in Cucamonga. So next time, friends, don't drive, take the Chief, leaving from Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga.
And now, Mr. Jack Benny in Waiting for Rochester to Stop. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspension.
My, what a lovely diversion, Jack. We really ought to go to the races more often.
Yes.
I mean, it's just so exciting seeing all those magnificent horses speeding down the track with those daredevil riders hanging on their necks for dear life. Don't you think so?
The what? Oh, yes, of course.
What's the matter, Jack? You seem preoccupied. Getting nervous about your big dramatic debut on Suspension Theater? Or did you lose today, old tightwad?
No, I didn't lose, Mary. But I confess I am a little concerned about my debut. If Rochester doesn't get here with that car soon, we'll never make it on time to the studio in Cucamonga.
Oh, come on, Jack. You can't fool me. If you were really that worried about making it to Cucamonga on time, you'd have reserved a seat on the Chief instead of letting Rochester drive. I don't think you're worried about that debut at all. I think you lost a few dollars today and you've got a good case of sour grapes.
Nonsense, Mary. I tell you, I didn't lose anything today. As a matter of fact, I won. $475.
$475? Why, Jack, that's a fortune. I would think you'd be a little more excited. You look almost bored.
Well, to tell you the truth, Mary, I am. I couldn't even bring myself to go and collect the winnings. I sent Dennis to get them.
Incredible. Jack Benny, the most renowned skinflint on radio, sent someone else to collect his winnings at the track. What in the world is wrong with you?
Oh, I don't know. Ever since the Depression ended, money's just not the same to me. I mean, what with all this post-war prosperity? Everyone's got it.
Oh, ho, I see. Feeling a little less than special these days, huh?
Well, sort of. Gee, I wish everyone were poor and miserable again.
Jack.
Well, I mean back in the Depression, when I made all that money, I knew, you see, I knew that I was important to people. I knew that every week people sat around to hear me make them feel better about themselves. That's what made it all worthwhile.
Oh, Jack, I think you're just yearning for your lost youth.
What do you mean, lost? It's not lost. I know exactly where it is.
So do I, back on your 40th birthday.
39. How many times do I have to tell you, Mary? I'm only 39.
Oh, Jack, nobody believes that line.
Why not? They believe I can't play the violin.
You can't, Jack.
What do you mean I can't? Why, I'm a gifted concert violinist. It's only for the sake of my audience that I've abused my precious musical gifts. Just so they'd think that somewhere there was somebody who was more inept than they were at something.
Don't worry, Jack. They still think so.
That's exactly the problem, Mary. They don't need to think I'm a booby anymore. Why, that's why I arranged this debut as a serious dramatic actor on Suspension Theater. I want my audience to respect me now that they can afford to. And another.
Here you go, Mr. Benny. $475. Hope I didn't keep you waiting too long, but those lines at the teller windows were just unbelievable. Boy, you should have seen them. They were so neat. Stretching out and away into the concourse, everybody jostling each other, waiting for the big payoff.
Oh, shut up already.
Oh, come on, Jack. Don't be so tense.
I can't help it, Mary. Between waiting for Dennis to shut up and waiting for Rochester to show up, I'm getting fed up.
I know. With success and prosperity. Well, you don't have to wait any longer. Rochester's pulling up now.
It's about time, Rochester. Well, come on, Mary. Dennis, get in before I'm late. Okay, Rochester. Let's go already.
Yes, boss.
Rochester, step on it, will you?
Yes, boss.
Rochester, I said step on it.
Yes, boss.
Then why are you slowing down?
Now, calm down, Jack.
What do you mean, calm down, Jack? Now, look, Mary. This is the most important role of my career. If I don't make it to that studio on time, I'll just...
You'll go back to being what you were meant to be, a comic.
Yeah, Mr. Benny. My mother said you could be almost as good as Fred Allen.
What do you mean, could be? Almost. You tell your mother.
Now, Jack, I'm sure Dennis's mother meant only to compliment you.
Oh, sure, Mr. Benny. She thinks you're very talented.
She does?
Oh, yes. She's always saying you've got the best talent for taking people's money that she's ever seen.
Why, you impudent simpleton. Why don't you and your mother...
Say, Jack, look up ahead. That looks like Bing Crosby thumbing a ride.
Why, it is my good friend, Bing Crosby. Rochester, stop and pick him up.
Yes, boss.
Rochester, I said stop. Pull over.
Yes, boss.
Rochester, slow down. You're going to hit my good friend, Bing Crosby. My God, Rochester, you hit him. You killed Bing Crosby.
Don't worry, Mr. Benny. He's still with us. He's hanging on to the running
Well,
board.
for heaven's sakes, roll down the window and ask him if he's all right. Why, Bing Crosby.
I bust my britches. It's my old buddy Benny.
Are you okay?
Bet your buttons. I'm fit as a fiddle.
Don't give him any ideas, Bing.
Why, Mary Livingstone. Say, I want to tell you that, Jack, Mary. That was some beautiful driving by your butler Rochester.
Beautiful driving. He nearly killed you.
Don't you think you're overreacting there, Jackie boy? I mean, I appreciate the lift. I'm beholden to him.
Well, tell me something, Bing. What brings you out this way?
Just traveling on the road of life, Jack, singing my song as I meander along. I'm doing, Jackie boy, spreading good cheer to the masses.
Oh, sort of a traveling troubadour?
You have a way with words, Jack.
Thanks, Bing.
Why don't you use it?
Well, gee, I wish I could cheer up the masses.
But you do, Jack.
You know, with beautiful music and tender feeling and all.
But you do, Jack.
Gee, Bing, do you really think so?
Sure, Jackie boy?
You see, Mary, Bing likes my violin playing.
Now, wait a minute there, Jack. Don't go putting words in my mouth.
But, Bing, you said...
The violin playing is really vile. But I love your comedy.
Oh, that.
Why, you're a beautiful buffoon.
Gee, thanks a lot. Say, Bing, I just had a great idea.
Well, I guess that's the first time for everything. Write it down, Jack. Don't lose it.
Why don't we travel together, cheering up the miserable tramps we meet along the road of life? I'll play while you sing. You know, sort of a road show.
Well, sorry, Jack. I'd really like to, but I can't. I got a date with Hope in Anaheim. Well, I guess I'll be traveling along, singing my song. Bye, bye, Betty.
So long, Bing.
Oh, and Jack.
Yes?
Took the comedy here.
But, Bing, ever since the Depression,
Time's a wasting, Jack. I'm off on the road to Anaheim. Geronimo!
You see? Nobody. Not even my good friend, Bing Crosby, understands.
Cheer up, Mr. Benny. Being a comedian is a great life.
Oh, is that right?
Why, sure. There's no ennui, no angst.
Ennui? Angst? Where does it say that?
Right here in this new novel by John Paul Sartre that I picked up at the newsstand.
Well, stick to the script, will you? This is suspension theater. not theater of the absurd.
Yes, boss.
Now cut that out.
Gee, Mr. Banny, you shouldn't take out your ennui and angst on Rochester. My mother says...
Yes, boss.
Stop it.
Yes, boss.
No, Rochester, I mean shut up, not stop. Don't stop the car. Speed up. I'm going to be late for suspension theater.
Yes,
I know. Yes, boss.
Yes, boss.
Now stop that. I'm telling you for the last time. What was that? Rochester, did you hit somebody else?
Look, Jack, Rochester didn't hit anyone. Your violin teacher, Professor LaBanc, must have jumped onto the roof of the car from that overpass. There he is hanging outside Dennis's window now.
Well, roll down the window, Dennis, and ask him if he's all right, for heaven's sakes. Monsieur Benet, my good friend and violin teacher, Professor LaBanc, what are you doing here?
The same as all men, trying to figure out why I am here.
Hey, that's exactly what it says here in this book.
But of course, I wrote it.
What do you mean you wrote it? That book is by the famous French novelist and philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre.
That is my langue de plume.
But I thought you were a violin teacher.
I am an existentialist above all.
Well, I think you've got a lot of nerve. Why, all these years I thought I was paying for a professional maestro.
Correction. You have not been paying me at all. That is why I am here.
Why, what do you mean?
Monsieur Bonnet, your money or your life. Perhaps you did not see this pistol in my hand. I said, your money or your life. Well?
I'm thinking it over.
Oh, Jack, hurry up and pay this crazy man before he kills us all.
Yes, boss.
Pardon, Miss Livingstone. I am no crazy man. Murder is the highest form of freedom to the truly existential man.
Why, you're serious, aren't you? You lunatic. Mary, Dennis, Rochester, do something. Help me. Let me out of this car.
Sorry, Monsieur Benet. It is too late. There is no exit.
We'll be back with the exciting conclusion of Waiting for Rochester to Stop. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspension. But first...
Train leaving on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga. Come on, doesn't anyone want to go to Anaheim, Azusa, or Cucamonga? Anybody? Anybody at all? Look, I got a wife and 3 kids to support. If we don't sell some tickets soon, I'm gonna lose my job. Then my wife and kids and I'll be out on the side of the road, and it'll be your fault. Who do you think you are to throw my family out in the street? What are you too special to ride the chief? Some big shot or something? Look, if you don't buy a ticket for the Super Chief right now, who knows what may happen?
And now, the conclusion of Waiting for Rochester to Stop. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspension.
My God, that was a close call, Jack. Good thing Rochester hit that low overpass just when he did. That crazy Frenchman might have stayed on the roof all night.
Gee, I wish he would have stayed a little longer, Miss Livingstone. I could have had him autograph my book.
Why, what do you mean? I was nearly killed.
That's okay. I already have your autograph.
Why, you stupid man.
Now, Jack.
Whoa!
Hey!
My God, Rochester, what was that? Did you run over a boulder?
That was no boulder, Jack. That was Don Wilton.
Rochester, you ran over my good friend, Don Wilton.
It's all right, Mr. Banny. He's hanging on the back bumper.
Well, for heaven's sakes, roll down the window and ask him if he's all right.
Hello, Mr. Wilton.
Hello, Dennis.
Don, what are you doing back there?
Oh, just hitchhiking, Jack. Nice of Rochester to pick me up.
Oh, fine. Another hitchhiker.
Sorry to impose, Jack, but I'm headed for my big dramatic debut on Suspension Theater. And I've just got to get there on time.
Now, wait a minute, Don. I'm heading for my big dramatic debut on Suspension Theater.
Sorry, Jack. When you didn't show up for the final rehearsal this afternoon, they called me in to replace you.
You see, Rochester, you have made me late.
Yes, boss.
Well, listen, Don, you can just forget it, because I can still make it to Cucamonga by airtime.
Now listen, Jack.
Rochester, what did you hit this time?
Look, Jack, it's Phil Harrison hanging on the hood of the car.
Hi there, Jackson. Thanks for the lift-a-rooney. I'm in a real burning huff, man, to get where I'm going. I mean, like on fire, you dig?
I dig. You're on your way to make your dramatic debut on Suspension Theater. Am I right?
Well, all right, Jackson. That's like amazing, man. You dig?
I dig.
Like the cats from the show piped me up on a horn, man. They said they needed a last-minute replacement for that cool cat, Don Wilton, who's apparently, like, been hit by a car. How did you know, you old gypsy, you?
Oh, let's just say a little bird told me. What the?
Oh, look, Jack, it's your pet parrot. He just flew in the window.
Ronnie's a cheapskate. Ronnie's a cheapskate.
Now what is that parrot doing here?
Maybe he's hitchhiking too, Mr. Banny.
That's absurd.
Hey, maybe he's like my replacement, Jackson.
Ronnie's a cheapskate. Ronnie's a...
Oh, Jack, he's dead. How sad. He returned to his master to die.
Oh, shut up. This isn't your dramatic debut.
Jack, how can you be so insensitive?
Insensitive? To what? A deathbed scene by an overacting parrot?
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Banny. I think his acting is pretty good.
Oh, you do you? Well, let me tell you a thing or two about acting, you silly puppy.
Now, calm down, Jack. You're taking this dramatic debut thing much too seriously for your health.
I will not calm down, Mary. You don't realize how serious all this is. I may end up being a comedian the rest of my life.
Oh, don't be so sour, Jack. You're not so bad off. You're rich, you're famous, you're funny.
Sure, I am. All I have to do is rub my magic fiddle, and out of nowhere come oodles of cash and laughs. People will give me anything I want just to make a jerk out of myself. Well, I'm tired of it, see?
Well, you can't expect people to pay you to make jerks out of them, Jack.
That's right, Mr. Banny. You'll have to pay them just like you do me.
Oh, shut up.
Yes, boss.
Not you, Rochester. Dennis. I want Dennis to shut up. You, I want to slow down. You're going to kill me next.
Yes, boss.
Now cut that
Yes,
out.
boss.
Yeah, stop
Yes,
it.
boss.
Stop it. Stop
Now
it.
calm
Stop.
down,
Stop.
Jack. Before you have a stroke, relax.
I can't relax, Mary. I can't. I'm too wound up. What with being late for my dramatic debut on Suspension Theater and all these crazy daredevil hitchhikers in Rochester with his incessant yes boss and Dennis with his stupid remarks and my desire to just once be appreciated for the great artist that I really am.
All
and-
right, Jack. Calm down. Why don't you play your violin right now? It always makes you feel good when you play bad.
If I told you once, I told you 1,000 times, Mary. I'm sick
I
of
know,
playing.
Jack. I was going to say that playing well ought to make you feel even better.
Gee, do you really think so?
Why, yes, I do. Don't you, Dennis?
Why, sure, Miss Livingstone. In fact, I think the fellas outside the car would, too. Hey, fellas, come and stick your heads in here for a minute, will you? Mr. Banny's going to play serious for us.
Well, Jack, now you've got your audience. Go ahead, play.
Some audience. A talking hood ornament. A human spare tire. A pantomiming parrot. A patronizing girlfriend and a 30-year-old adolescent. No thanks. I'll just wait till I get to Cucamonga and Suspension Theater. If I ever get there before this lunatic Rochester kills us all with his reckless driving. Rochester, will you please slow down? I'd rather not make my dramatic debut as a corpse.
Yes, boss.
Oh, don't be such a grouch, Jack. Leave poor Rochester alone and play your violin for us. We all promise to listen very seriously, don't we, boys?
Well, all right. But I'm stopping the moment I see the slightest wrinkle in anyone's face.
Gee, that's not fair, Mr. Banny. I was born with this crease in my face, and Miss Livingstone got all sorts of lines in her face just
Dennis?
from her age. And both the boys here have some sort of scar from their accidents on the
shut
road,
up.
and I...
Yeah, shut up, Dennis.
Yeah, shut up, Dennis.
Now, Jack, will you please play for us?
Well, if it'll make you all happy, I suppose I will. Hand me my violin, will you, Dennis?
Here you go, Mr. Banny. Strings and all.
Well, let's see here. Seems to be in tune. Of course, you realize that it's going to be difficult to play properly with all these bumps in the road jostling me around.
Yes, boss.
I wasn't talking to you, Rochester. I was talking to my audience. You just pay attention to the road. And stop speeding, will you? If I wanted to travel at 200 miles an hour, I would have taken the chief to Cucamonga. and be alive when I got there.
Stop stalling, Jack. Play already.
All right, all right.
Gee, that's beautiful, Mr. Banny. You sound just like a train.
Why, what do you mean a train, you stupid man? Why, I ought
No, listen, Jack. There is a train whistle. Look, it's the chief coming right alongside us.
I knew I should have taken the chief.
Well, maybe you'll get your chance. There's a train conductor standing in the middle of the road. He's waving a red flag.
Rochester, slow down and see what he wants.
Yes, boss.
Rochester, you deliberately hit him. Dennis, roll down the window and ask him if he's all right.
Sorry, Mr. Banny, this one didn't make it.
You mean he's dead?
No, he's alive. I can see him still twitching back there on the roadway.
Oh, great, a hit and run. Next thing you know, the police will be after us.
No, Mr. Banny, that's not a police siren. That's the train whistle. Ain't it swell? Gee, you can see the lines on the Indian's face. It's so close.
Well, he must have quite a few of them because he's screaming awful loud. My eardrums are going to burst. Put some distance between us and that train, will you, Rochester?
Yes, boss.
Whoa! Good God, man. I didn't mean race the thing. Are you crazy?
Yes, boss.
Jack, do something.
Yeah, Mr. Banny, make that sound with your violin again.
Woo, woo. Whee! Rochester, stop the car.
Yes, boss.
No, Rochester, I mean really stop the car. Don't just say yes.
Yes, boss.
Rochester, look out. You're going to hit them. There's a crossroad up ahead. Stop the car.
Yes, boss.
Stop the car.
Yes, boss.
Stop the car.
Don't go away, folks. We'll return in just a moment with an exciting post-show interview. An interview well calculated to keep you in suspension for just a few minutes longer. But now a word more from your best bet to cook among the chief.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. The train. that, left a while ago for Anaheim, Cook-a-Sosa, and Amanga. It sort of got there, sort of. Well, it sort of did too. It didn't quite make it all the way. It made it part of the way, but not all the way. It had an accident. Oh, with a car. There's no more train for Anaheim, Cook-a-Sosa, and Amanga. So, you can't take it anymore. See? Not you. Not me. Not anybody.
And now we take you to our very own green room for a few moments with our cast. Take it away, Frank.
Thank you, Richard. Well, hello, gang. Glad to see that you're all recovered from your terrible catastrophe.
Well, after all, Cucamonga does have the best first aid squad from here to Anaheim.
Oh, Jack, that Cucamonga line is just so tired.
Not nearly as tired as Mr. Banny himself, Miss Livingstrom. Gosh, just look at those furrows in his brows, those crow's feet around his eyes, age, ennui, and angst everywhere.
Speaking of angst, Jack, where's Rochester?
Oh, he hasn't shown up yet. We're still waiting for him.
But wasn't that Rochester in the drama?
No, that was me. That was me doubling as Rochester. This proves what a great actor I am, you see.
That sure is funny. Tell me, Jack, how did you decide to appear on Suspension Theater in the first place?
Well, as you know, comedy has always been my living. But lately I've found that my life has become less than funny.
Oh, don't be so sour, Jack. You're not so bad off. You're rich, you're famous.
Sure, I am. All I have to do is rub my magic fiddle, and out of nowhere comes oodles of cash and laughs.
Gee, that sure is a funny story, Jack. You must have been really surprised.
What story?
I can certainly see why you're considered radio's funniest comedian.
Yeah, my mother says Mr. Banny is almost as good as Fred Allen.
But I don't want to be a comedian, especially not my good friend Fred Allen. I want to be a serious artist, a serious dramatic actor. Why, that's why I agreed to do this show in the first place.
Oh, boy, that sure is a funny story, Jack. I can certainly
Now
see
cut that out.
why you're considered
Stop saying
radio's
that, you stupid man.
funniest
Stop
comedian.
that. Stop saying
Now
that.
calm down, Jack,
Stop.
before you have a stroke.
I will not calm down, Mary. I will not. Just once.
Will you calm
Just once, I'd like to be considered the great artist that I really am.
Jack,
Stop
you're
laughing
going
at
to have
me.
Gee,
a
Mr.
stroke.
Banny, I can see those lines in your face really.
Calm down.
Keep little. Calm
Keep
down, Jack. Would you please be
But I don't want to be funny.
Truly a
Jeez.
great
I
comedian.
don't want to be. I don't want. Oh, shut up.
Wow, what neat
Stop
lines.
laughing.
Make them laugh, Mr.
down,
Banny. Make them laugh. Just like the Super Chief.
Suspension. Tune in next week for another well-calculated tale.
You are listening to The Joe Bev Show. I'm Joe Bev.